going on, everybody? Derek Spallone here of Spallone Sports. I want to welcome you to the debut episode of our brand new segment titled Where's the Fun?, which focuses on highlighting your favorite athletes participating in their favorite hobbies. Our first ever guest, Chicago Bear tight end Ben Braunecker, joined by Ben right now. Ben, what do you got in store for us today?
I love playing chess. It's a complicated game. It's super deep, super strategic, makes me think a lot, and so it's checking off all the boxes for things that I like to do.
Okay. Well, before I try to keep you in check, we'll kind of circle back over here. Yeah, right. When did you first discover your passion for chess?
I think it started when I was about 5 years old. My parents gave me this book, an illustrated chess book.
Okay.
And I didn't really know too much about the strategy or anything, but I liked the pictures of the knights and the bishops, and they all had swords. I thought it was cool. So, I mean, I might have set up the board and moved the pieces around with my dad or something like that, but I never played seriously. And then flash forward 13 years, or a little bit more than that, and I'm going back to school after my rookie season, and I need something to do. All my friends have graduated. I'm just going to classes with a bunch of people I don't know, so I was like just racking my brain for something to do, and it came across as chess might be something that would be good. It's fun, challenging, something that I can devote myself to, my free time to. And it kind of got carried away because I enjoyed it so much, more than class, that I eventually started skipping class and just playing chess for hours on end in my dorm room. And I started out being terrible, and I still don't think I'm very good, but it's a work in progress. It's a fun one.
How long did you think it took you to reach that next level where you felt like, okay, I'm good now I'm great, now I'm progressing? Yeah.
I guess I wouldn't call myself a beginner anymore, and that might have taken a year and a half of playing almost every day. Gotcha,
okay. So Ben's going to have to bear with me because I've only been practicing for the last couple of weeks since I've known we were going to bring this to life. So it's going to take me a little bit longer to probably be at that level.
But it's fine. I'm glad to be here playing.
Yeah. All right, so we can start off by rocking and rolling. So, yeah.
All right. Starting off my favorite.
Okay.
Actually, I'm going to... So when I play somebody for the first time, I'm going to do this little trap kind of trick opening just to see how much you know.
Okay.
If you don't know a lot, it should end very quickly.
Okay.
I wouldn't normally play this, but I had played against beginners though.
Okay.
So we'll just see. We'll just see how you respond.
So if anything here, Ben will break down how he went about it. If I fall for the trap here.
Oh yeah.
That's why I'm falling for the. We're right off.
No, I wouldn't.
Up 2-1, right?
We're
going? Okay. So strategically, what are some common similarities you see between chess and the game of football?
Well, there's a lot of, I think in football, especially like pre-snap, that there's a lot of what are you trying to do, what are you trying to get accomplished, and how are you, say like on the offensive side, we've got certain plays that work best against certain defenses, but NFL defenses show one thing and they could be something completely different.
Gotcha.
So you could get yourself into a play.
I get to grab this guy right up 2-1, is that?
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
I get to grab it right back.
All right. Right back. Sorry to cut you off, but yeah.
No, so it's kind of, in football there's a lot more chaos. Chess is obviously more controlled. There's no physical aspect, but I think the special thing about chess is that it is the game of ultimate skill. There is zero luck involved. If you play at random, you will lose immediately.
Right.
So you can get lucky in other games or other sports, but not in chess. All right.
So what are you seeing right now? Still in that trap area?
Oh, this is something completely different. You didn't respond at all how I thought you would.
All right, so we're off the hook there. We're okay.
All right.
All right, Benny. So you got to tell me, because being a Harvard guy, we'll jump into that. What's the most common asked Harvard question you get? Oh, I fell for that. Oh man.
Actually, I'm gonna.
Like, you just have an automatic response for it. It's like
There've been. I just realized I mean, you could have gone right here and forking these two pieces.
You guys right there.
I'll just let you have
Talking
that.
and playing is a little harder. Like
it is, yeah. So I usually, the longer I have to think, the better I do. I am horrible at playing chess fast, like speed chess.
Okay.
I almost always run out of time and lose just because I like to sit there and think about the strategy and everything.
Gotcha. Okay.
But as far as the Harvard question, I think there have been a lot, not so many that have been original. Okay. There's not one question that sticks out in my mind, but it's usually along the lines of somebody will come up to me and say, hey, you went to Harvard, kind of like, show me how smart you are. Say something smart.
Okay.
I'm like, what?
What is a smart person?
That's not a normal thing to ask somebody. It's almost like I'm a novelty or a circus act or something like that.
Right.
I'm just a person that went to a prestigious Ivy League school, and I don't think that defines me or anything like that.
Right. Do you sometimes find that challenging being under the microscope, not only as an athlete, right, as a pro athlete, but also in that aspect as well as one of the few Ivy League guys?
Yeah, I think everybody seems to like stereotype people, just groups them into a category just based on what school they went to or what they are interested in.
Right.
People are so complex. It's really not a good idea to try to speed through your evaluation of somebody.
Right.
Trying to get to know somebody. Let's see what you got.
All right, let's see here. So, right now, so you went back over there.
Yep.
So I couldn't trap you in that way. We need one of those clocks when you just.
Yeah.
Have you ever played that way, or you?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
You might have seen on chess.com all the games are timed, right? So there's a time control. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
So that somebody can't just sit there all day and
figure out their move, right?
Yeah. But I've played with at Harvard. I went to a couple, not chess clubs, but there were group meetings where students would play, and some of the students were titled players, meaning that they were masters, they had achieved a title, whether it's like a national master, which you can get in any country, or you can get a FIDE master, which in FIDE, F-I-D-E, is the national or international chess organization. So they hand out master titles, and there's international masters and grand masters, the highest title.
Wow. So you've played against.
I've played against. I haven't played against every single level. I've played against, as a beginner, I played against a FIDE master at Harvard, and she smacked me around for a couple hours. But it was cool. Like, she was just on a completely different level.
There we go, little sound effects.
Spectator.
Yeah. Let's see.
Was going to do something if you responded the way I thought you were going to, or how people usually do. I was going to do something called the fried liver attack.
Fried liver attack.
I can show you when the game's over.
Okay.
But,
so we're gonna see the fried liver attack after the game's over.
I don't know why it's called that. But
there's no origin to the name. It's just.
Well, I'm sure there is. Chess is an ancient game. Like
right.
I think it's a couple thousand years old. So these openings have been. And this is. I mean, I did a E4, which is that initial pawn move, is the classical opening.
Okay.
So I don't know how long people have been playing like that, but it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Cool thing is that people can still come up with novel moves in certain types of openings, even though they've been played for such a long time.
Gotcha. Oh, there we go. Kind of figured I was going to go that way. I was trying to open up. Just for our audience at home, I'm still hanging in there right now, two pieces apiece right now, so.
I'm just going to take it nice and slow, make sure I don't miss anything.
That wasn't designated as trash talk, by the way. It's just pointing it out for everyone. All right. Let's see.
Somebody at home could run this game.
Yeah.
Copy it on a chess engine. They could see how bad we're playing.
Oh no. Uh-oh. So
That's it.
that's checkmate. Oh. All right. So where was my error on the board? What part did I move that you're like, all right, this is
Kind of the first move.
Oh man. Okay. You gotta
So,
break this through.
yeah.
All right.
So let's reset it.
Okay. Let's reset it. And you're very right. It's hard to multitask.
Yeah.
Chess, so. All right. There you go, man.
All right. So
All right. So for everybody at home, what's
if I
couple
could
tips? Yeah.
give like a Spark Notes version of how to immediately be better at chess, I would say play the classical way. So that's following this structure. This would be classically considered the best way to start the game.
Okay.
Like this.
Type of
Yeah. Moving your pieces to
Okay.
these pieces. If you're playing classically as black, you're trying to prevent white from getting into this position.
Okay.
White automatically has the advantage because that's the side that goes first. So a lot of the openings that have been developed over the millennia have just been back and forth between fighting for these central squares.
Gotcha.
So what you want to do in the beginning is get a pawn duo in the center.
Okay.
Because if you can,
So I'm gonna want to move my 2 right out.
yeah. So I started off
Right.
with e4. That's controlling these 2 squares right here.
Okay.
Generally, if you control the center, you have more opportunities to attack and defend. You're just better off that way. You can get your pieces out, you control more squares, more territory, and these are all good things. Next, what I expected you to play was e5.
Gotcha.
So that's not allowing my pawn to advance and also controlling 2 central squares, or 2 squares in the center as your own. And then next, most beginner games start out this way. You want to get your minor pieces involved. Your minor pieces are your bishops and your knights.
Gotcha.
Usually the general rule of thumb is move the knights before the bishops, just because the bishops work well with the pawns and you don't know how the pawns are going to be set up in the middle game. So it's generally advised moving your bishops second to your knights. Your knights will do really well, and these are like the classical squares to develop your knights.
Okay.
Because they control these squares. They control all the center squares right here. And it's usually, I'm also attacking this pawn. It's not to be neglected. So usually that's the move that follows.
That's the move, okay.
Yeah. And so from here, you're defending this pawn. The next step in the fried liver attack is to move to your bishop c4.
Okay.
There's another opening that's called the Ruy Lopez, or the Spanish game. That's this, and that's threatening to take the knight and then having you take the bishop, and then this pawn is free to take, right? But in the fried liver, we play like this, and then you would do something like this, developing your knights before your bishop. And then kind of a noob move, I would play knight g5.
Okay.
It's generally advised not to move your pieces more than once in the opening, just because you want to get that beginning position, which all your minor pieces are out playing, and your king to safety. If your king's in the center of the board on his home square, that's not a safe place for him to be. But if you notice that in this knight attack, we're keying in on f7, which is the weakest square in black's camp. It's only defended by the king. So if you were to make some nothing move like this,
okay,
I would come in here and check your king.
Gotcha.
And now your king has to move. You can't take here. It's defended by the knight. So you would lose your right to castle. And then I'd move this back here, and you would be in all sorts of hurt.
Gotcha. Okay.
But where are we at? There we are. This is the next move.
Okay.
I'd take there, and then noobs, beginners, would play there,
okay.
which they think keeps the material balanced. But the next move is right here with the queen. Getting your queen involved early is not advisable, but this is the fried liver attack. I'm now double attacking your knight. It's only defended by the queen, so you're in threat is losing that. Also, I'm threatening checkmate because if you make a nothing move, queen takes f7 is game over.
Wow. And that's just in a couple of steps too.
Yeah, yeah.
Really
so this is a decisive attack for white, and black can. So playing as a beginner, a lot of the games started out this way. This is actually this structure right here. See, this is called the this is the Italian game. So there's Italian, Spanish, French, Sicilian. There are a lot of I guess that these players from these regions came up with these openings, played like this when the game made its rounds.
Gotcha.
Way back when. But there's so many different ways to play. This is usually how beginner games start.
Okay.
And just briefly to go through, this is how I would respond if somebody does a knight attack like that. We do the same moves, but instead of taking with the knight, which is just bad because the queen's coming here next, I would play this knight advance variation, which is pretty risky. Usually people are stunned at this point. If you don't know what you're doing, if you've never seen this before, some people would try to attack, but really white's objective in this opening is to key in on the weakest square. So you just advance the pawn. It seems like a really good move. You're opening up both lanes here. You're also attacking this pawn. So if you do something like that, dumb, then the bishop's coming right here, and you're going to be in the same issue. So I would then, as black, take right there, and it seems like white has scored the winning blow right here with knight takes f7, because it's forking the rook and the queen. It looks like you're going to a rook is more valuable than a knight, so it looks like you're going to get a material advantage, so you got to move the queen somewhere. But I make that quiet move right here. So usually beginners would cash in and take the rook, but now my attack begins. Take right there on the diagonal, threatening checkmate by taking the rook.
Gotcha. And then
that's the only logical move right there.
Okay.
Then I go right here, check on the king. So now white has a choice. You can give up the queen for a knight, bad, or you can play right here, and now you get one of the most beautiful checkmates in all of chess, is the smothered mate. This is a checkmate with the knight, who's attacked by the bishop, but the bishop cannot move because the queen has the bishop pinned.
Wow.
So that's a smothered mate right there. I probably played that series of moves maybe 150, 200 times, and I've probably checkmated like that maybe 100 times.
Wow.
And that's just one way that beginners can play. So
that's really cool, because it's almost kind of in some ways like an art. I feel like it's so strategic, where it's like
there can be I mean, there's a certain artistry, especially at the higher levels.
Yeah.
Some of these men and women are so advanced; they're like wizards on the chessboards, and they're like, I forget the quote, but it's like, it goes along the lines of chess it's both practical and artistic, and it kind of goes That's like the spectrum that it goes along. So you can play more artistic, but not as practical, and then you can play more practically, but may not be as artistic. So usually these when you play, you're like tiptoeing the balance between playing a beautiful game and a structurally sound game. So, you want to play another game?
Yeah, let's try it on out, man. Let's try it out. Yeah.
I'll give you
I'm gonna have to walk me through a couple so we could try. You went through a whole tutorial.
Yeah.
You guys were going through it, so I could try to keep the balance, keep the pace with
Yeah.
it.
So
okay.
Get a pawn duo in the center, or at least try to.
Okay.
Yes.
But you automatically want to go 2, right? Because it's not worth it to just move.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think, unless you're trying to confuse your opponent, I don't really think there's a benefit to going like something like that. I've seen people play like that before, but I don't recommend that. Get a pawn duo, get your minor pieces out, get your king to safety. All right. And so you played the queen's pawn opening, which is different than e4. You played d4.
But normally you would want to do the e4 like you said for...
I mean, it's just the way that beginners play. You don't have to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so.
Okay, and then from here I'm trying to form kind of what you were showing me, right, with the 2 up and the...
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't do that because it's hanging, right?
Oh, hanging
my knight just takes it.
Gotcha, okay.
For free.
So get out and... Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So up 2 over 1?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because it could also go up 1 over 2 as well if you're in that, if you have the space capacity.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, you can play right there. That's
Gotcha.
That's fine.
Okay, gotcha. So 2.
You can take it right back with your knight.
My knight, gotcha.
Or the other one.
Oh.
Right?
Okay, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, gotcha. Or it's in this case would be and then overthrough. Gotcha.
This is actually we're playing one of the variations of the Indian game.
Of the Indian game?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is part 2, by the way, so we're running it back. Ben's giving me the courtesy of letting me try again, so.
White is the advantage, yeah.
yeah.
There's a good amount of people that play chess in Harvard Square.
Really?
Just random people bring their boards to public places, and they've got like the tables, like I think we saw, or that you mentioned at Oberweis.
Yeah.
They have the tables with the chess squares on them, and people bring their own places, and sometimes clocks too. And they'll play for money or play for just bragging rights too.
Right. No, that's really neat. And it brings people together as well. It'd be like for yourself, a hobby and an interest of people to come together as well. So that's neat. Were any of your fellow teammates big chess guys?
I've played actually more than you would think. I've played. I used to play all the time with Benny Cunningham before when he was still on the Bears. We play in person and we play on chess.com.
Nice.
I got him on there. And then Kevin White as well on chess.com.
Gotcha.
Benny Cunningham was pretty good,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
That's cool. That's awesome.
I think I had learned how to play more classically or rigorously. So I studied openings and like tactics and done like the puzzles and everything.
Gotcha.
Like a real true nerd would.
Hey man, nothing wrong with trying to perfect it. I got to perfect it somehow.
So I think I had a little bit more opening knowledge than he did.
So cellular and molecular biology?
Other way around, molecular and cellular.
Cellular
I just
biology.
say molecular biology because it's a mouthful.
So that was what was like, what interested you about that major the most? What was like so intriguing about it that you're like, this is...
Yeah, this question I always ask myself, learning about science or even the way the human body works. Being an athlete, you have maybe a better understanding of the limits of your body or what it's capable of just because you're working with it every day and trying to get it better. So as a young boy, I was always curious about how my body was able to move the way it was. Not that it was essentially special or anything, but I just wanted to understand what made it, what could increase my performance or why was I fast or could jump so high. So these questions about why were best answered with biology and chemistry as a fusion. The further down you kept asking the why question, it eventually led to, cellular pathways or something along those lines. And so I had an affinity for that and loved like learning about that. Couldn't get enough, really.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Is that how you discovered the sports gene that we were kind of discussing, or was?
Yeah.
Okay. And sorry, the name
so
of that
actually,
one is the A. Yeah.
ACTN.
ACTN. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Or it controls like a chain of actin.
Actin. Gotcha.
It's alpha actin 3 is the sports gene is in David Epstein's book, The Sports Gene, that I read when I was in college, not for class or anything, just a pleasure read, and it was really good and informative. I actually read it as a part of a class that I was taking online this off season, and it just talked about why certain athletes are good at certain sports, and how genetics and it's really a nature versus nurture argument, and how those two combine to come up with the complex thing that is athleticism.
Gotcha.
So it's just why certain people are better at distance running versus sprinting, and so a lot of these questions that you may have, I guess, social or maybe even a little bit of intuitive understanding about, provided a scientific explanation, a genetic and environmental explanation for these types of traits, which is interesting. Any complex trait is a combination of the environment and your genetics. The human body is so complex that it's really hard for mortal men, just mere human beings, to understand what's going on. But it's a beautiful thing when you can learn anything about that.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I was gonna say it's got to be pretty fascinating too, because I'm even just reflecting back, trying to think like when you watch some of these stellar athletes on TV, and I'm sure even for yourself growing up, like a Michael Jordan, or even and especially in the basketball world, and some of these other sports. Do you think it's fair to say they have some trait of that?
Yeah.
Or is it okay.
It's kind of like a big, if you use a little bit of the science background here, it's kind of like each sport and the population that play them is one big test tube.
Okay.
And so what you'll find is the higher that, if you have a competitive situation, which almost all sports are, the better players, for whatever reason, rise to the top. The more gifted players, the ones that practice the most, or the ones that are the best genetically, it usually aligns itself in a hierarchy, really. The more competitive the competition gets, what you're going to find is that the people that do all the things right, have the right genes, practice the correct amount and in the right way, will be the champions.
Gotcha.
And that's such a complex thing to understand, that it's almost impossible to do everything correctly. But for me, it was mostly about maximizing my genetic potential and trying to be the best athlete that I could be. And that I really discovered the depth of football performance when I got into the NFL. Because it's the story of any natural athlete, that they'll rely on what they're good at, their athleticism, to carry them through the competition. So if you give a young man like myself the ability to win without trying that hard, but you still can win because you're gifted, then you will do that. You won't be forced to practice hard or do anything like that. You might if you're interested in it, really want to improve yourself, but you're not forced necessarily to work harder to achieve the same sort of success. Yeah, because you can already do it. But when I stepped into the NFL, like, that was the hardest thing that I had ever done. The competition was so fierce, and everybody was so good at their job that I really had to look in different directions to try to discover what I could do, discover ways to improve myself as a football player, and as an athlete in general, to allow me to be competitive and to keep a job in the NFL. So that was probably the biggest athletic challenge, and it was a really eye-opening moment for me, realizing that what I had been doing in the past wasn't good enough anymore.
Okay.
So it's I guess the same story of anybody that really pushes themselves, or that tries to find their potential, or do something that is the hardest challenge of their life, if they're competitive and they want to succeed and that they're motivated, that they'll find ways to improve themselves to get the job done, really.
Was there a main area that you discovered? Because I know you mentioned.
I know there's so many to talk about. I guess one that I hadn't thought about until I actually started doing it was meditation.
Okay.
It's not necessarily, people might have anticipated like lifting weights in a harder in a certain way, heavier weight, or taking some sort of supplement, but really it was focusing my mind on the objective and clearing out all the background noise, all the voices in my head that were really just distractions from what I was trying to get accomplished. And it helped in more areas than just athleticism. Like, it made me a better student, it made me a better friend, boyfriend, anything of that nature. It improved me as a human being, and that was something that I didn't anticipate, but it was powerful. Yeah,
because it definitely allows you to get into like a zone, right? It allows you to really get your mind right, I think, which is essential for really any activity. You need to think and be ready. So that's
definitely.
That's very neat.
Yeah, I became aware of, there were essentially maybe not even two, I was going to say two intelligences within me, but there may even be more than that. One that could involuntarily control my body, because I'm not necessarily thinking about moving every time. You don't think to breathe, you don't think to walk. Like, these are things that your brain has coded into patterns that you know how to do by heart now.
Right.
So I was falling to this trap that thought that I could think my way to being a better athlete. It's not the case. Really, my body and my brain, my muscles had the ability to be better. It was just more of me, my own thinking intelligence, my own ego to step out of the way and let my body do what it's been trained to do. I think that was, I read a book that really eloquently put that much more than I just did. It's called The Inner Game of Tennis.
Okay.
And it's got some themes in there that I tried to explain. That it's a book written to make yourself better at tennis, but it can be applied to all sorts of biomechanical movement.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So check it out. It's interesting.
Yeah, gotta check it out.
Aspiring athletes.
Yeah. No, that's really neat. That's great. Yeah, it's really interesting how there's so many. Like you said, you're able to discover certain things about yourself and what you're able to do as you're progressing, and see, especially amongst your peers, right? Where it's like, okay, how are these guys at this type of talent level?
Yeah.
How can I get there?
And well, everybody's
right.
unique, and everybody has their own story of how they got there. Right. Even if you're a high school athlete, how you developed over the years, or even if you're not an athlete, even if you're a chess player, or when you first started learning about it, what kind of training you've done in the past, those all contribute to where you are today, and that can be applied to all aspects of life, really. Everybody's got their own story, their own path that gives them the ability to do, this is a really broad statement, that gives them the ability to do whatever that they're trying to do. It makes them better or worse at something.
Yeah, it kind of makes them.
It's pretty intuitive, but I didn't necessarily come to realize that in its entirety until I started playing football professionally.
Gotcha. Yeah. Cool. So it definitely opens a lot of different avenues for thought process too, I think. You're able to see it from different lights. Yeah. Like you said, everybody has a story and a journey, so it's amazing to see how, their past and where it kind of guides them to, and like you said, how science or some studies can also play a factor into those certain things.
Yeah.
Because that's not something you always think about when you're doing an action, right? Until after. So yeah, I got another question for you, but first off, who is it? You up or am I?
Your move.
I'm up? Okay.
Yeah.
Apologies. This whole time I thought it was Ben's turn still. So I slowed down the game a little bit. But my question, kind of along with that, you killed it at your combine.
Yeah.
Like, you had outstanding, phenomenal numbers. After that feeling, and then going undrafted, was it kind of like, man, this is a little bittersweet because I really excelled?
Yeah.
Not that it's a bad thing. It's still a blessing to be in the league and you made the most of it. But was it a little?
Yeah. I kind of fell into the trap that I thought, because I had a really good combine, that I was going to get drafted and that I had made it in some small sense.
Right.
But it was a good lesson for me at the beginning of my NFL career that you really never truly make it. As soon as you get the job, they're always trying to come up with, the front office or whoever, the team is always trying to come up with a way to find somebody better. Right?
Okay.
It's just the nature of the game, how competitive it is, and how many people want what you have at an NFL job. Like, I was there at the beginning of my career as a rookie in the same way. I saw vets that I took their jobs from them, and I saw vets that stuck around. So it's just part of the game in that sense. All right.
So definitely, like in a business, and as I'm sure you heard the expression, NFL not for long, as they say, unfortunately.
I am.
So right now I'm okay.
I am not playing classically.
Okay.
So there's like the classical and there's the modern school of thought.
Okay.
Classical way is to exactly how I showed it to you. Pawn duo in the center, minor pieces out, king to safety, castle your king. I am letting you have the center. Gotcha. But which is a more modern thought. But
I saw you do one move earlier, and I actually think I saw it in one of the tutorials I watched. Was when it was at the king?
Yeah, the castling. Okay, so I mean, you could do that.
Can you do that at any point, or does it have to be? You know what I'm saying?
You have to move the. It has to be a rook and a king connected.
Okay.
And neither of them have moved yet.
Okay.
So if you move the king, you can't castle. Okay. So here I could castle king side.
Okay.
This is the queen. This is the queen's home square.
Got it.
So this is castling queen side.
Okay.
And it's a way to get your king off the unsafe home square, and tucked away to safety. The people that play chess have come up with a point system to evaluate the worth of each piece.
Okay.
So pawns are worth 1 point. The minor pieces are worth 3 points each.
Okay.
The major piece, or the rooks, are worth 5 points each, and the queen is worth 9 points. And in all my experience, it's been true that these are pretty accurate. I mean, people way smarter than me have come up with these rules, but 2 rooks beat a queen because 10 versus 9. That's true in the game. So it just gives you a sense, like, you don't want to trade a pawn for a knight because they're not the same worth. A knight can do more than a pawn, so it's inherently worth more.
Gotcha. So would you say, based off where I'm at right now, I would want to keep working on the middle game, or do you think you've already kind of?
I think get that bishop out and get ready to castle.
Okay. Gotcha.
So I'm ready to. That's what my opening has been about.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So you just move it out and then get and then the next move you can. Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. And you can do the same.
So
yeah.
So it's only 2 squares, and then you switch the side of the rook.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So keeping on that topic, minorly, I know we talked about it a little bit off the camera, but you hear a lot about being a student athlete, of course, at a lot of Power 5 schools. But what is it like being a student athlete at Ivy League school, and especially at home?
It's a huge challenge. Just because the amount of work and responsibility you have academically, you go to Harvard for an education, and it's a really good one, so you really want to devote a lot of time and energy to that. You want to push yourself to gain some useful knowledge to use later down the road. But then on the flip side, you have to be a Division I athlete and play football at a high level, and that means do all the things that high performance athletes do, like sleep, eat well, work out, train, to keep their bodies in high performing shape. So it was always a time crunch, and it was always a difficult challenge to find a balance, or find really time and energy to effectively do both academics and athletics. And also, you're there to meet people and have a social life too, right? Discover who you are and meet friends that you'll have for the rest of your life. So you got to find some time to do that too. That's the struggle of any student athlete, but I think the Ivy League obviously puts a lot more expectations on the academic side. So they'll want you to spend some time on that. All right, let's see.
So I want this route.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't even think I could give you a realistic answer on how many hours I've spent studying chess.
Okay.
It's been so many, hundreds, probably maybe even 1,000, and this is just
Really?
to be
Wow.
just to be bad, in my opinion. I've spent that much time just to be okay, I would say. I guess I would say I'm better than an average person, but amongst people that actually study and play chess like myself, then they're
Different style, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think right now, because I was thinking this route, but then, like you said, it wouldn't really quite be worth it because I would lose him. and
I
that
think
one.
I
It's
think
like-
you need to. Your
Yeah.
bishop wants to play too. Your dark squared bishop.
Yeah. So you're thinking, okay,
He needs to go somewhere.
okay,
Just get your minor pieces out.
get him out. Okay, gotcha. All right. Would you have tried to go a little bit further out? You think? Or
No,
just get him out
I
of the
think
way?
that's a
Okay.
fine square.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, it's not every day you have someone that helps you with chess while you're competing against them, but
It's true. Usually on your own
right.
to suffer or think your way through the.
Yeah. Well, first round lasted a few minutes, but now it's
Well,
strategic.
I'm on
Yeah.
I'm on the defensive. I'm
Yeah.
playing as the dark pieces, and generally like e4 versus d4, king's pawn versus queen's pawn openings. Say if you move this, the e4 pawn first or the e pawn first to e4. Those games are usually more attacking oriented and end faster than
Okay.
the move that you played to start off, which was pawn to d4.
Gotcha.
So there's a little bit more safe. I think that's technically the best opening move for white, just because of, well, there are certain things that certain defenses that black can play to the king's pawn if you're more of an advanced player that make it not as good as the queen's pawn opening. Just
Okay.
chess nerd wisdom
Man,
right
it's
there.
good. We're taking all the knowledge
Yeah.
where we can. And
But I've done hours and hours of little tactics, chess puzzles. I've watched YouTube videos on openings, on general strategy. I've read a couple books,
Okay.
or tried to make my way through some books. I haven't completed them yet, on the openings that you can play.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Chess is such a beautiful and complicated game. I don't know the statistics and how many possible moves there are, but there are so many
gotta be
that
a lot, right?
computers haven't even been able to completely figure it out. I mean, an average computer could smash the best player in the world right now, but they haven't
Figured out
perfected
Right.
chess yet, which they can do for other simpler games, which is a testament to how complicated the game is.
Yeah, shit. I'm gonna try something out. We're gonna see
Sure.
if it works. If it doesn't work, I'm gonna tell you what I was thinking.
Yep.
We're gonna see if it goes into it. So,
That's pretty good.
all right.
That's not bad.
Maybe you see the vision too with it.
I mean, now I just need to find a good square for my, better square for my knight. I wanted to move him right here,
Okay.
but I'm a little bit behind with my pawn moves. Okay. I think we gotta do something awkward.
All right. Okay.
It's cool. I've played thousands of chess games.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever played one quite like this.
This one a little
It's
bit more. Yeah.
It's a little bit interesting.
Yeah. I'm trying to see here. So I know you did the studying for chess. How many pages is the playbook when you first got here? Were you like, man, this is a
Oh gosh. It'd be better to say how many inches thick
how many
it
inches
is.
the playbook?
Yeah, I don't even know how many pages there are.
How many,
Still.
do you have to like for you personally? What's your studying tactic? Are you able to go through it?
Yeah,
like,
I think
Yeah.
now I've gotten the hang of it. This is the second year in Coach Nagy's offense, so I know it pretty well.
front to back, essentially. Yeah.
I don't have to study as much as I did last offseason when he was first installing it.
Okay.
But when I first got into the league, I had mastered the Harvard offense, which is much smaller and up-tempo oriented. So it wasn't as challenging as the hundreds of plays that we had when I first got into the league with the Bears. So I had to spend hours a night looking
Really?
over all the pass and run concepts, because it was just more complicated than anything that I had seen before.
How many plays or variations should I say? Because obviously in the tight end group, but you're still learning the whole offense. Would you say it was like that you really have to essentially memorize for a game? For a game.
For a game, yeah. I think that it's common to have like anywhere from 100 to 120 plays up for a game.
Okay. So
that are available to run. The thing with football is there are so many different situations that can come up based on the down it is, based on, say, if it's 4-minute or 2-minute, depending on, there are so many end of the game plays. There are so many different types of situations that you can find yourself in that it just requires a large number of baseline plays.
Gotcha. It's all sometimes scenario-wise and situational and things. So.
Mm-hmm. Gosh, I don't really like my position very much.
Is that kind of okay?
Well, yeah.
Well, see, I was thinking going this route, but then at the same time, sorry, you would just, you know what I'm saying? It's I'm trying to see what actually might work.
Not bad. Oh, it's just hanging, isn't it? It's not defended. That's what's called hanging.
Hanging, okay.
Yeah.
If it was defended, what would that be? That would be what do you mean by that?
So, for example, if you had a pawn backing it up, that would be a valid attack because I can't take it because I would lose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Okay.
But instead, here, it's just, do you want to take the move back? Because you'll just lose a piece for free.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. No worries. Gotcha. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. That definitely helped. Well,
I was thinking up 2-over-1 this way, taking your guy, but then it's...
No, go for it. It's valid.
Just better than trying to take the pawn away,
Decisions. All right, we'll just do this. I think it's safer.
So you got to take me through last season. That was pretty. Got to be pretty.
It was.
What was the?
It was special playing in a playoff game, winning the division, having so many primetime games. It was definitely the most fun I had as an NFL player. Yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed the coaching staff, the players, and winning helps. You have more fun doing a lot of things. I probably won't ever forget the wins, the losses, everything that went into that NFL season. It was good.
Did you have a specific game that stands out to you from that season that was just like, wow?
I think there were a couple. Both were at home, and later in the year. I think it was the first game against the Vikings at home, night game, and the win against the Rams at home, both of which were challenging. Okay. Both of which were challenging and really rewarding. Mm-hmm. Still putting up a fight.
You're trying to hang in there. Dan, did I get over the 14-minute mark here?
You did.
I'm hanging over there? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We've got tons of options. I'm just trying to figure out which one's the best one.
And that's the thing, and it's interesting because you brought it up, and I don't think I got a chance to really think about it until right now when it's like the game slowed down, all the different actual variations when you see the board and you're trying to understand the strategy a little bit better. You're like, okay, that could go this way, but one might have,
I'd recommend moving him though, because he's in danger.
Yeah. Oh, but you can move backwards, right?
Yep.
You can? Okay,
mm-hmm.
Gotcha. All right.
We'll just run with this, that's fine. It's really hard to determine which move is better than the...
It is.
You kind of have to have a really good imagination and just kind of...
Right, just see it right and just go.
Imagine taking it both ways and then picturing the opportunities or how that changes the game.
Right.
Go ahead and deliver check.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So that's check, but then if I can move him on back.
Okay. You can move. Yeah, you can move the king. You can block with. You could go queen here. That'd be bad. Just take the queen for free. You could move your rook there. You could go there.
Yeah,
there.
That way.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The castle's crumbling.
Okay.
The graveyard is getting bigger.
Let's see. Oh.
Just go ahead and take it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I would have done.
Okay. That's what I was kind of envisioning, but I was trying to make sure, like, box-wise, square-wise.
One of the reasons that I like chess so much is that it's a different challenge for me. Is I spend 90% of my working hours right now improving myself physically. I don't have to think a whole lot to do that. I got to learn some plays and recall those on demand, but chess is something completely different. Like I have to come up with strategy, find like the best move. It's a really big intellectual challenge, and it's kind of it started out as a novelty to me. Like there was so much depth, so much to be learned from the game, and it was a lot different than what I was doing on the field or with my job. So
kind of like a fresher breath air for
yeah, and I found that really really nice. So it's one of the reasons why. Well, I guess that's what got me started on it, and then how I stuck with it was just the complexity and how rewarding it was to think myself through situations. It also appeals to me competitively because I'm super competitive to a fault almost. It's part of the reason why I have been able to climb the athletic ladder so high. Just because I really enjoy competition. So I really could see myself playing this game for the rest of my life because it'll be something when my body fails that I can still flex my competitive muscles with.
Do you think sometimes it gets, consumed or saturated with being in the professional athletic world, being a pro athlete, but with kind of all the demands of the sport, with social media, with maintaining reputation, maintaining this image, so to speak, to be able to, like you said, be able to kind of shy away from that at times to play a game of chess, to pick up a book.
Yeah, it's just I can go online and nobody knows who I am. And play a game that satisfies me in a different way than athletics do.
Yeah, definitely.
I think I see a road to victory here.
You see one? Okay.
Yeah. The end is near.
Yeah.
Sorry it hasn't been as quick as the last one, but your death is coming.
That's a nice way of putting it. Jeez, Ben. Gotta grab some pieces along the way.
I'm just gonna ignore it.
Okay.
So do you know about pawn promotion?
How does that?
So pawns being the lowliest piece, having all their moves limited, if they make their way all the way to the end of the board on the back rank, they can promote to one of these 4 pieces.
Really? Okay.
So they, where was this guy?
Oh, that's not, was it there? Was it? I think there. Yeah. Gotta check the video footage. Where was it?
It's right here.
The replay. We'll check it out.
People think I'm cheating, but it's just the way that. So it's a pawn gets more powerful the farther down the board it gets, because really it'd be a problem if you could turn a pawn into a queen. Okay.
So kind of like checkers, where you.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you play checkers too? Do you not a big fan?
Not a big fan of checkers. Gotcha. No. I think it's just simple chess in my mind.
Yeah.
It's chess for kids almost, even though kids can play chess.
It's probably my most effective way to be try to.
Yeah, you could take, you could push.
try to.
But unfortunately, it's the wrong move.
Oh man.
Because the game ends with smothered mate.
Oh no. Okay. So wait. So if I go that way, what do you or?
You would have to. So the king is checked
Okay.
right now by the knight, and
Okay.
he can't move. So
Gotcha.
it's checkmate.
Oh man.
So you would have needed to open up a escape door for your king, or protect that square somehow.
Okay. So that would be my move, and then you would.
Yeah. So then I would have been right
Gotcha.
here, and I wouldn't have been able to go there.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I had other plans. But if you would have, I kind of set you up because I was
Nah,
explaining
you're
pawn
good.
promotion, and then come back and stab you in the back and win the game. Devious.
You think you know a guy, and then you sit down and play chess with him.
Yeah.
All right. So right now, my real only option would be to try to move
End the
him out.
game,
Right,
reset the
okay.
board because it's over.
So I move this way, and we got to make it official. You got to make it official. So.
Yeah, sir. And I'll just take the king. Yeah.
All right, man. Wow, Ben. Well, I didn't quite keep him in check like I had anticipated, but a little better the second time around when you got to think through and see it strategically.
Yeah.
So.
Play more games. You practice more. You get better at something. Yeah.
Thanks for breaking it on down, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. So, well, couldn't quite get the W, guys. Everybody that's tuned in, but I know you went over the lessons. I think we
Some
on.
brief lessons,
Yeah.
some brief themes. It's a super complicated and really deep game, but there's a lot of joy to be had, in my opinion, of exploring it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think the focus was there. I know like you said, it's easier to play when you're not talking. You're able to see the board and visualize it. So I think we touched on a lot of great conversation topics. But before we let you go, I guess the season's around the corner. What are you looking forward to the most? What's some of that?
Well, this is going to be season 4 for me.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Everyone's a little bit different, but I really feel like I've been doing it long enough that I guess I'm getting not necessarily the hang of it, but I'm getting to a point where I know what's going to be expected, how my body best responds to the types of training, what's around the corner with training camp, and how an NFL season goes. All these things I've got years of experience in now. So it's just building on top of all of that and trying to be the best football player I can be. That's my goal in this job.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And I was going to ask you your team goal. Of course, that's to get to the Super Bowl and win it. Of course, get it.
Yeah.
And then personally, I know you said to keep improving. Do you have a personal goal, I guess, in regards to achieving?
Well, it's always you can never take your spot on the team for granted. So it's always first and foremost make the team.
Right.
But then on top of that, I really don't have like a statistical goal or anything like that. So it's more team oriented. Like we want to improve on what we did last year, defend our division champ title, and continue moving forward in the playoffs, because that was a lot of fun. I think the city of Chicago really was waiting for that. Was waiting for the Bears to be good again. And I think that just the energy around the city is unlike anything I've seen since I've been here. So it's just all of us as a team improving, keep marching forward on our mission to be Super Bowl champions.
Sweet. I mean, we're all hoping you get there too. And I was gonna say the energy must be pretty contagious. I would say, especially just because I think with the vibe of the way the last year was and how everybody pushes each other. One question I always like to ask that's really helps with our audience, especially for the youth, with someone like yourself, stature, being in the NFL. What's your biggest piece of advice to the youth when it comes down to setting goals and then taking steps towards achieving their own ultimate dreams?
Yeah, well, there are a lot of psychology work has been done about setting SMART goals. That's the acronym SMART. You could Google that and then decide what goals you want. But it's really what I talked about earlier, is finding something that's challenging yet achievable for you. Like I got so much better as a person and as an athlete when I made it to the NFL and was actually trying to do something that was the hardest challenge of my life.
Right.
So it's setting a good goal, one that's going to really force you to dig deep and to challenge yourself and make yourself better, but yet one that's not too lofty to that you can't achieve it.
Right. So putting together the structure, the mindset,
It's everybody has an idea of what they like to do or what they kind of want to do in life. You may not know exactly, but you have interests, right? So even if it's the game of chess, you can come up with some realistic goals to help you improve, or maybe you want to get better grades in school or be a professional football player. It's up to you, but it's taking small steps, but thinking about the steps and taking the right ones along the way.
Perfect. Well, Ben, unfortunately, our time's kind of come to an end for us, but I really appreciate you taking on so long for your hobby, your activity, playing chess with you. I know I've learned a lot. I think I could agree for my guys, Joe and Dan. They've learned a lot. I'm sure our audience will learn a lot as well. And appreciate you taking the time, man. Wish you the best this season, man. And hope we'll see you soon, man.
Yes, thank you. Had a lot of fun.
Thanks. All right. So Ben, thanks for joining us for the debut episode of Where's the Fun. But before we let you go, we'll do one quick lightning round of questions. I'm going to put 30 seconds on the timer on the world famous iPhone, and we'll try to fire away and see your responses.
Have at it.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. All right, Ben. Favorite pizza? Or
Pepperoni, probably.
Okay, favorite food?
I would say Mexican.
Okay, favorite song?
Oh my gosh.
Or song or music genre? What's your music genre?
Music genre. I listen to so many. I'd probably say like movie soundtracks.
Okay. Do you have a favorite artist?
Let's go with rap for now and Stu Logic.
Okay, Logic. Okay. Favorite sports team growing up?
Philadelphia Eagles.
All right. Well, 30 seconds on the timer went there. Ben, I think we tried it out. That was like my first time ever doing that. You've probably done it some time in the NFL with different features, but it's
challenging.
Definitely puts more pressure when you don't get a chance to really try it out.